Hey everyone, and welcome to week 4 of COM 322, Communication and Popular Culture. I'm going to use this PowerPoint to talk us through some of the content from the Gender and Sexuality unit and move us forward into this next week with some really important reminders. All right, so week 3, last week, we talked about gender and sexuality. We used the Fosters, we used Ellen, you watched Codes of Gender, you had tons of additional video resources to help you think through some of these ideas. I've posted sample quiz answers for those quizzes, so make sure you take a look at those, but I wanted to highlight a few elements of the content just to make sure we're all on the same page as we move toward the final exam. One, make sure if you haven't done so already, you go back to that article on hypermasculinity and really parse out what hypermasculinity is, which is this exaggerated maleness. And it's predicated upon a few different behaviors, how men are portrayed. So it's devaluing love and overvaluing sex. It is engaging in dangerous behavior. And it's a particular kind of performance and illustration of a gendered male body. So make sure you know what those are. Also, make sure you have an opinion on whether or not you think we've made progress on issues of male and female portrayals, right? The reading that I gave you seemed to suggest that we've made leaps, I guess, in terms of women, but not so much in men, right? That especially sitcoms portray men as really, really kind of doofusy and devoid of emotions, or, emotional, and then they're not really a man. And so if you agree, I'd love to know more about that, and you're probably going to have to talk about that on the exam. Remember that this is rooted in the feminist perspective, which you learned about that first week of the class, which looks at the entire gender system. Typically, we talk about men and women in here, but there's obviously more than just that binary, right? There are people that fall in, outside, and above and beyond that description. And so, you can't really talk about women without talking about men because the portrayals depend on themselves, right? So women are seen as docile, and that's even more fitting if men are seen as really hypermasculine and the protectors. And so you need to do some more thinking about that regarding how those portrayals go together. Also think about if we've made progress or not on some of the gender and sexuality issues, right? You've seen a couple different portrayals about Ellen. Bonnie Dow doesn't think that her coming out was very significant. Now, she doesn't have the value of hindsight, right? That NPR story that you listened to revisits that Ellen coming out and says that, yeah, like it really was. It paved the way. It was pretty impactful. And so then I had you think through some of the other issues of LGBT or queer portrayals on television now. And I just want you to know that on the exam, you'll have to talk through examples like you did on the quiz and be able to really utilize what you learned about femininity and masculinity and sexuality and talk about whether or not you see those same things happening. So if you can't do that, make sure you're heading back to the material and rereading and thinking, and maybe hit up that Prezi again. All right, so as we enter week 4, you're going to be taking a look at sports for a couple days, and then you're moving on to Food Inc. and just the food culture, which you have longer to complete. So let's take a look at sports, which you have to do these first couple days of the week. You're going to be taking a look at Black bodies and bodies that don't really belong, and you're going to be thinking through Black excellence, which is this kind of, originally Black excellence is this notion that they have to be better than white folks, right? So it's like you have to maintain your composure, be stronger, be more successful to even get the same kind of attention as white folks. Now, if you're familiar with this concept of Black Twitter, there's a whole bunch of people of color who have really appropriated Black excellence to kind of point out places where people of color just go above and beyond. And so we're going to be thinking through that, and we're going to be thinking through it in sports, but certainly there's crossover into other industries. All right, and then our last unit is going to be food culture, which runs for a remainder of the course where you have a longer time to do the unit, in part because you have to do the reading that are there, look at the PowerPoint, and also watch Food Inc. If you haven't done so already, track down a way that you can watch Food Inc. We have it at the library, but if you're not on campus, you also have it on Netflix or some other streaming devices, which I had put on the syllabus was a necessity for this class. So if you haven't done so already, make arrangements to get Food Inc. One of your last quizzes is to fill out a Word document while you watch that movie and send it to me. All right, but your kind of pressing needs here in these next couple days are to take Quiz 7 over the sports unit, get on the discussion board, and work on your problem solver project, which is due at the end of the week. Don't forget about my office hours on Wednesday, and email me or text me if you have any questions or needs in between. Good luck.